Welcome to this support resource for the intentional planning document. This particular one is going to cover 2G learning environment, planning for respect, engagement, and emotional safety. This part of your lesson plan helps you think intentionally about how to make your classroom a respectful, inclusive, functional, and engaging place to learn. A strong learning environment includes clear expectations, consistent routines, mutual respect, and space for students to feel safe taking risks. When students feel safe, seen, and supported, they engage more deeply in the lesson. The design of the space also plays a role in creating this environment. The arrangement of desks and tables, classroom lighting, and displayed materials all influence the dynamics of the space and can impact the student's level of comfort and ability to engage with few distractions. So let's take just a moment and review the vocabulary that is most closely associated with creating this respectful and accessible environment. So to start out, we need to look at the term learning environment. This is the physical, psychological, and emotional conditions that influence how students experience school and learning. Students might interpret this as, what does it feel like in here? What does it look like so that I can access materials and everyone can learn? We want to make sure that respect is at the forefront of the design of the environment. Mutual regard shown through language, tone, and behavior that value students' identities and contributions is what respect is. Students often see this as treating everyone kindly, fairly, and respectfully. And so this can be done through procedures in the classroom. It can also be done through simply the way that the physical arrangement of the room allows them to interact with one another and have their own spaces as well as some communal or shared spaces, and also have the protocols for, how to respect each one of those spaces. Procedures means established, practiced routines that create consistency and reduce disruptions. Establish, model, and practice routines that create consistency and reduce disruptions. So kids know this is how we do things in the class so that it runs smoothly. We think of it like a well-oiled machine where even if the teacher has to be out a day, the students can often run that classroom because the procedures that are put in place are so grounded and they're so, we like to say, woven into the fabric of the class. Expectations are clear academic and behavioral goals that are communicated to students, and they're typically communicated multiple ways. So there might be, some anchor charts or some flow charts around the room, as well as maybe some printed directions or classroom behavior goals. And then, of course, they're going to be orally reinforced depending on what the grade level is. Expectations, when we see them in, really working the best, students are actually reminding one another of what those expectations are. So that's what expectations are, those clear academic and behavioral goals. Engagement is the active participation and investment in learning tasks. So we want to think of engagement as not just the physical movement of the students' bodies, but their minds. How are they cognitively interacting? What are they discussing? What are their conversations about? So engagement has multiple ways that it's manifested in the room. And we want to make sure that the environment is supporting engagement in multiple formats. And then emotional safety, an experience in which one feels safe to express emotions, security, and confidence to take risks and feel challenged and excited to try something new. So this can be seen in a student's willingness to answer questions, even if maybe they, have not mastered the material yet. This is their ability to, partner up with someone in the room to discuss their thoughts and feelings about a content. So emotional safety is very important to supporting a positive learning environment. So These resources are provided, and notice that three of them are going to have hard copies that are in the folder, and then this Castle one is hot linked here. But I'll give you an example just using the Castle one. These are resources that are intended to expand and enrich your understanding of how to provide a respectful and accessible learning environment. So this one is going to kind of walk you through some social and emotional needs that students have and things that you could find in a social, emotional focused classroom that are supporting students. There are several different guides here and some little checklists that can be of help to you. Additionally, there are three other resources, and those are all going to be in the folder in hard copy. But these things include how to build a positive classroom, 6 ways. So these are going to be some strategies to use, and then the actual science behind it. So these can be things that are very thoughtful for you. So next, let's kind of scroll down, and you can see right here, I'm going to put this video overview, and then the visual examples are going to be right here below. But we provided an opportunity for you to have some ideas of how a positive learning environment could be implemented in different grade levels and with different content areas. So for example, just taking a moment to look at like an 8th grade ELA classroom, a strategy to support a respectful environment would be student-created class agreements on discussion. So when it's time for class discussion, what are some maybe conversation stems and that are put into place? And these might actually even be printed and put on the wall. What are the rules about who gets to speak? Do we have like a little classroom stick? Are we going to use raised hands? How do we do that? And procedures can be reinforced with entry ticket routines and maybe even a timer put into place for like turn and talks that would be supportive of those discussions. So an entry ticket routine would be what do students need to have done to be able to participate in class today? Is it something that's going to be like a do now on the front board and that's their entry ticket, or maybe it's something that they need to actually come to class with? Maybe it's their materials or something. To support engagement for an 8th grade ELA class, personal journaling before group reading could be a really great way to get students hooked into some of the themes of what the lesson's going to be about or what the reading material is going to be about before they even jump into it. So we're kind of tapping into some of their personal thoughts and feelings in order to get them hooked into the reading. And then the safety piece of it. So anonymous parking lot for sensitive questions, maybe using some sticky notes. That could be a wonderful thing that maybe the teacher is going to keep at his or her desk. And when students feel the need that they want to express something, but they kind of want to do it anonymously, maybe they, would like to sit a different place in the room. Maybe there's some bullying situation going on or something. Maybe there's a place that they can put that need without, actually having to be in an uncomfortable situation, maybe perhaps in front of their peers talking about it. So I just kind of walked you through one of these examples, but you'll see that we've provided it for different grade levels, different content areas, just to give you an idea of things that could be put into place to support the learning environment. All right. Additionally, we have provided this template. This template is not to be used instead of your intentional planning document. It's simply intended to kind of jumpstart your thinking about how to plan for emotional safety, engagement, and respectful routines. So you'll see that there are a series of prompts on the left. And then on the right, there are some planning notes that are going to kind of help you walk through and give you some ideas of things that you could include. So the planning tool asks you to reflect on those 5 key areas: respect, procedures, behavior, emotional safety, and engagement. And it helps you move beyond the logistics into the emotional and social aspects. whether it's choosing inclusive materials or modeling how to handle mistakes. The choices that you as a teacher make are very important. And then lastly, we've included a rubric, or a little checklist that you can use to self-score yourself in these areas. So, for example, if you've not considered the emotional safety at all, the environment feels unpredictable. This means that maybe we've not fully established the procedures and routines for the class. Um, Students don't know what they're supposed to do during a class discussion, and so it seems a bit chaotic. And so this is just a way that you can self-score and then kind of use it as a matrix. For example, if you're low in this domain, emotional safety, maybe look at some of the choices you're making in the other four um, domains, the other four rows. So, planning your learning environment is essential. This is not something that is separate from teaching, it is a huge part of teaching. Use this intentional planning document section to be intentional about how your classroom feels and how it functions. Your students will feel it, and so will you. And it will make for a more pleasant and more cohesive and accessible learning environment for everyone. So happy planning, and we hope that this helps.